Hi guys, my name is Aylin. I'm 23 years old and I'm from Turkey. Just a few months ago, I couldn't speak English properly. I knew some words, but whenever I tried to have a real conversation, I just froze. I felt embarrassed, anxious, and often avoided speaking altogether. Every time someone asked me something in English, my mind went blank. But today, I want to share how I completely transformed my English skills in just 5 months. And no, I didn't move abroad, I didn't spend a fortune on private teachers, and I didn't sit for hours memorizing grammar rules. Instead, I discovered methods that truly work in real life. Here's how it all began. My dream has always been to work as a flight attendant. I love traveling, meeting new people, and exploring different cultures. Last year, I applied for a job at an international airline. Everything was going smoothly until the final interview. The interviewer spoke English, and I froze. I couldn't form proper sentences. I remember saying something like, "Yes, job, good." I walked out of that room feeling crushed and disappointed. But that failure became my turning point. I realized that English wasn't just a subject or a language, it was the key to my dream. And that night, I promised myself I would learn it, no matter what. I started by stopping overthinking grammar and focusing on communication. I learned to use practical phrases I could actually say in conversations, like, "Can you repeat that?" or "I don't understand," and repeated them every day until they felt natural. I also started talking to myself in English constantly. If I was cooking, I would say, "I'm chopping vegetables." If I was making tea, I would say, "I'm boiling water." It felt silly at first, but it trained my brain to think in English. I also developed what I call the question-answer method. I asked myself simple daily questions such as, "What did you eat today?" or "What are your plans for tomorrow?" and answered them in detail. For example, instead of saying, "I ate rice," I would say, "I ate rice and chicken because I was really hungry and I drank some fresh juice." Over time, my sentences became longer and I could express myself naturally without hesitation. Pronunciation was another challenge, so I started copying native speakers. I watched YouTube videos, paused, and repeated exactly what they said, matching their tone, rhythm, and speed. I also listened to podcasts and repeated sentences aloud, which helped me sound more confident and natural. Vocabulary was easier to remember when I learned it through stories instead of memorizing long lists of words. Every day, I picked a few new words and created short, funny stories with them. Words like excited, invitation, surprise, and arrive became part of my daily stories, which helped me remember and use them naturally in conversations. I immersed myself in English every day. I watched TV shows, listened to music, changed my phone language, and even described my surroundings in English. For example, while walking outside, I would think, "The sky is blue, people are walking fast, that man is wearing a red shirt." Constant exposure like this helped my brain switch to thinking in English naturally. I also practiced active listening and used shadowing techniques. Listening alone isn't enough. You need to repeat and mimic what you hear. I repeated every sentence immediately after the speaker, matching their pronunciation, tone, and rhythm. After a few weeks, my accent improved significantly. I stopped fearing mistakes and started speaking whenever I could, with friends, shopkeepers, or even strangers. Mistakes were no longer obstacles, they became tools to learn faster. I also started writing daily journals in English. At first, my sentences were simple. I went to work, I ate lunch, it was good. Over time, I studied how native speakers structure their sentences and applied it to my writing, making it more natural and confident. Consistency was key. Every day, I spent at least 2 hours practicing English, sometimes talking with people, sometimes talking to myself. Even 20–30 minutes of focused practice can make a huge difference. After 5 months, I applied for the flight attendant job again. This time, I walked into the interview confident, understood every question, and spoke fluently. A few days later, I received the call. Congratulations, you're accepted. The feeling of achieving my dream was indescribable. From my journey, I learned that mindset is everything. Believe you can improve, and you will. Immerse yourself in English daily, don't fear mistakes, focus on practical communication, and stay consistent. If I could transform my English in just 5 months, so can you. Imagine yourself 6 months from now, speaking confidently, traveling, and achieving your dreams. It's possible. You just have to start today.